After decades in the public eye, Hillary Clinton is once again answering difficult questions. The former Secretary of State recently spent more than 6 hours inside a private session on Capitol Hill as part of the ongoing congressional investigation tied to Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I have just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions.
But what did lawmakers really want to know?
The Democrats have just as many questions for the Clintons as the Republicans.
The deposition took place away from cameras and the public, showing how sensitive the case still is years after Epstein's death.
It was all taking place behind closed doors.
Clinton repeatedly told lawmakers that she had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes, saying she did not recall ever meeting him and had never flown on his plane, visited his properties, or communicated with him.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him.
I had no idea about their criminal activities, she told lawmakers in an opening statement shared publicly after the session. However, one name inevitably came up. Clinton did confirm a brief acquaintance with Ghislaine Maxwell, noting that Maxwell once attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
She came as the +1, the guest of someone who was invited.
Still, she insisted she had no awareness of the crimes that later led to Maxwell's conviction.
I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance.
The questioning took an unexpected turn when a photo from inside the closed-door deposition was leaked on social media. And that's when the private session suddenly wasn't so private anymore.
There's nothing crazy to see here. It's Hillary Clinton sitting at a table flanked by lawyers and, of course, Republicans and Democrats who are in the room.
The image, shared by conservative commentator Benny Johnson after obtaining it from Republican Representative Lauren Boebert, violated deposition rules and prompted a temporary pause in testimony.
The hearing has been paused briefly while they figure out where the photo came from.
The session later resumed, and questioning continued behind closed doors. Clinton's appearance followed months of back and forth between the Oversight Committee and the Clintons, who initially resisted testifying before ultimately agreeing to comply.
We worked for 6 months to get the Clintons to come in.
While the former First Lady insisted she has no connection to Epstein's crimes, she also used her testimony to criticize the committee's approach, at one point calling the questions part of political theater and suggesting they were intended to distract from other figures now accused of connections to Epstein.
I think they could have spent the day more productively.
But Hillary wasn't the only one called to testify. One day after her appearance, it was Bill Clinton's turn.
I just finished testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee.
The former president spent roughly 6 hours in his own closed-door deposition, pushing back firmly against the committee's line of questioning. He defended his wife, insisting she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, and criticizing the decision to subpoena her at all.
Including her was simply not right.
When it came to his own history with the disgraced financier, Clinton stood by his long-held position. I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing.
I saw nothing and did nothing wrong.
He maintained that their association ended years before Epstein's crimes became publicly known. Clinton also stated that, given his own upbringing in an abusive household, he would have reported Epstein had he known the extent of the allegations.
I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got.
For Hillary Clinton, the connection appears distant. For Bill Clinton, it is far more direct. He has acknowledged crossing paths with Epstein and traveling on his plane, and that history is now back under scrutiny. Now, Clinton has always denied ever setting foot on Jeffrey Epstein's infamous private island in the Caribbean, the one that's been at the center of disturbing allegations involving underage girls. But here's where things get murky. He did admit to flying on Epstein's private jet, the same one that got dubbed the Lolita Express, back in 2002 and 2003.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
In his recent memoir, Citizen, Clinton finally spoke at length about the whole situation. He said he used Epstein's plane for work related to the Clinton Global Initiative, humanitarian stuff, and he insists that all of this happened before Epstein was convicted of sex crimes in 2005. Here's what Clinton wrote. The bottom line is, even though it allowed me to visit the work of my foundation, traveling on Epstein's plane was not worth the years of questioning afterward. He added that he always found Epstein a little strange, but had no idea about the crimes he was committing. According to Clinton, the last time they were in contact was before Epstein's 2005 arrest. Clinton also claims he only met with Epstein privately twice, once at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, and once at the Clinton Global Initiative offices in Harlem. But some photos and testimonies have raised eyebrows. For example, Clinton was once pictured getting a back rub from Chante Davies, a flight attendant on the Lolita Express who later became one of Epstein's accusers. She said the massage happened during a layover on a humanitarian trip to Africa. And then there's Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most well-known accusers, who claimed in 2020 that Clinton had visited the island, though she didn't accuse him of anything directly.
However, when asked whether the former president was a witness to the sexual abuse of minors, Ms. Giuffre said yes, he would be a witness because he knew what my purpose there was for Jeffrey, and he visited Jeffrey's island.
Another woman, Johanna Schoberg, testified that Epstein made a disturbing comment about Clinton's preferences.
So the question from an attorney was, did Jeffrey ever talk to you about Bill Clinton? And she said that he said one time that Clinton likes them young.
Again, there's no evidence that Clinton participated in anything criminal, but that line certainly sparked serious concern. Even Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate, confirmed that Clinton had flown on Epstein's jet, though she didn't know how often. And then there's that painting. Jeffrey Epstein reportedly had a bizarre portrait hanging in his Manhattan mansion. Bill Clinton, in a blue dress and red heels, lounging on a chair and pointing at the viewer like Uncle Sam. The piece, titled Parsing Bill by artist Patrina Ryan Clyde, was first revealed after a guest at Epstein's home snapped a photo and shared it with the Daily Mail. Some believe the blue dress is a reference to Monica Lewinsky's infamous stained dress, while others think it resembles something Hillary wore in 2009. But seriously, how could this not be a message? Whether it was meant as mockery, control, or something darker, it definitely suggests Epstein was sending a pointed signal about his relationship with Clinton.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
Epstein had a strange way of keeping people guessing. Back in 2002, one of his associates described him to New York Magazine as Gatsby-esque, rich, mysterious, aloof. But was it all just an act? Donald Trump, who knew Epstein for years, once said he was a lot of fun to be with, and that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Yikes.